Hi, I'm Michael Bean, and this is your lesson for myfreeactingclass.com for Tuesday, the September the 8th. Ta-da! Today, we're going to be talking about confidence and talent, and I'm going to go over a short script because I just get bored of myself just talking, and I want to do some fun stuff too. And I figure we've been doing this long enough that we can squeeze it in without me having to go crazy fast. So, to start with, I'm going to show you a clip of the fantastic Anthony Hopkins, and then I'm going to show you a quote by him. There's this particular clip that somebody made on YouTube. I think I used it once a couple of months ago, but I like starting with a little bit of visual aid. So let's start there. So.
Protect a legacy.
My legacy? That pause is fully 7 seconds long, and it is amazing. After reacting in disbelief at such a shameless euphemism, Hopkins, in silence, cycles through a few emotions. First, disbelief. Then, a consideration of the words for a split second at their face value. Maybe he should safeguard his legacy. Maybe he shouldn't be so ambitious at his age. Then, a smile. And this scene will feature several shades of smile. This one is kind as can be in the face of what he considers to be an attack, one that insults his intelligence. As he looks down and chuckles, the smile seems to acquire some suppressed anger. He can only bear to look at her in quick glances as he composes himself. Then he fires back an antagonistic remark.
You don't like this place very much, do you?
Okay, so one of the reasons that I like this clip is that it is the way that it breaks down the 7 second beat. You know, and certainly Anthony Hopkins is not the only person who did this. This is just the only video that I've had pointed out to me that's like, look at this. This guy breaks this down and exactly. Are his descriptions of what these micro expressions are the right ones? I don't care. Like that's not the relevant part. The relevant part is look at any extremely skilled performance, and you will see that you can take these moments and explode them open and see how much detail is in them. Now, if you want to get there, there's no way that that this man has crafted out specifically, and then I will, and then I will, and then I will, and then I will. Very, very unlikely, at least based on the way that he says that he works. So let's watch the 7 seconds again, without the breakdown.
My legacy.
Okay, and then look at what Anthony Hopkins says in Backstage West, which is Backstage is or was originally it was like a paper digest, and now it's mostly online, run by Breakdown Services or Actors Access, which is the service in LA that handles most film and TV auditions. So, The Hollywood Reporter. Here we go. I hear you've perfected a process of preparing for a role that involves drawing wagon wheels. Anthony Hopkins, it's a method I use, nothing mysterious about it. I learned the text cold, read it maybe 100 or 200 times. The wagon wheels are little 4-pointed asterisks with circles around them. So 4 of those represent 20 read-throughs, and they make my script look interesting. It's kind of phobic, I guess. Chuckles. Oh, obsessive compulsive, been there. It's a trick I play on myself just to make sure I really know it. Then I'm at ease and I can improvise. Okay, so then I'm at ease and I can improvise. So the improvisation is this feeling that you are making it up as you go. The way that this actor chooses to get there is by reading the text cold maybe 100 or 200 times. If that's something that he's found works for him, it gives him the ability to perform with confidence. So where I wanted to start today's lesson is with this idea that it has been a while since I have covered, that is important to me personally because I've just seen it be effective for my students, which is, Maura, oh my gosh, you have great lighting and a nice background. Sorry, I'm so distracted, by like, check this out. Wait, it didn't work. Spotlight! Highlight, background, so not distracting. I mean, let's just map the world, but it's strong improvement. Okay, that's just neither here or there. A little moment of like, hey, shiny thing, because I've talked to Moira about her background so many times, and like, look, she found a new place to set up. Right on. This basic idea that talent is practice that other people don't see. So talent is this very usable word. I think it's useful for you professionally. It's possibly useful for you personally. But the word talent, the way it is typically used, implies that there's something special you have in yourself that you're either born with or not. And what we know from our experience, say playing a sport or playing an instrument or learning to dance, is that it's a slow process. You build it up in your body over time, and then once you've got enough of it that you can do it without being seemingly effortful, other people are like, wow, that's magical. That's amazing. You are so talented. And the younger somebody starts, the more likely they are to be your age and already be doing this. So oh, good. Oh, Caden, I'm so glad you're here. Because I was hoping that you would be here, and I already recruited Kevin for this exercise. So I'm going to use Caden, as my demo, and going to show you a short script from an old TV show, a comedy show, I believe it was a CBC show called Hiccups, with a kid, and then I'm going to put Kevin and Caden in a breakout room. And so they're going to like disappear for a few minutes, to practice it. And then we'll come back and see again. And I haven't done that before, so that's fun for me too. Caden, you are going to be, what is the character's name? Caden, you are going to be Boy. And Kevin, you're going to read Millie. So here goes. Interior bookstore. Day, flashback. Millie stands reading a book. A 9-year-old boy comes up.
Hey, young fella, you like books?
Books are study.
Stupid.
Stupid.
Books aren't stupid.
That book is stupid. Are you stupid?
And you're stupid.
And you're stupid.
Okay, well, you can bite me.
The boy pushes Millie.
Don't do that.
The boy pushes her again.
Quit pushing.
The boy pushes her again, and Millie pushes him back. The boy pushes her, and she pushes him down to the ground. The boy's mother, the one we saw in the previous flashback, walks up. Hey, what are you doing to my son?
He started it.
Okay, great. So you don't have to remember the lines exactly. It starts with, Kevin, it starts with, hey, young fella, you like books? Books are stupid. Books aren't stupid. That book is stupid, and you're stupid. Okay, well, you can bite me. And then after that, it's pushing. Don't do that. Quit pushing. There's a couple of pushes. So if we were seeing Caden's performance early in the scene, one of the reasons that I had this one singled out is because of the pushing. Obviously, you want to do the pushing. It's going to be normal to want to push up here, but that's going to look super fake. So Caden, are you standing right now? Okay, you're going to want to stand up, and you're going to want to push down below where the camera can see. Okay, so give a push exactly right down there. And so let's run the scene once. Kevin, again, your first line is, hey, young fella, you like books.
Hey, young fella, you like books?
Books are stupid.
Books aren't stupid.
And you point at the book that he's got in his hand, and you say, that book is stupid, and you're stupid.
That book is stupid, and you're stupid.
You can bite me.
And then you push him. All right, so push him down below the camera, Caden. And you say, quit it, or some
Stop
line.
it. What are you doing?
And then you push him again. You don't have any more lines, Caden. You push him again, and you say, Kevin, you say, quit pushing.
Quit pushing.
And you push him one more time, and he pushes you over. And you go, ah, and fall over. And now, obviously, you're not going to want to fall all the way on the ground. You're just going to want to have a big push back and look like he really hurt you so that you can, exactly, you love falling on the couch. Do that. Fall on the couch, go, and just ham it up for the mom. Now, we can see that like, Caden's laughing and he's having trouble remembering even these short words. Of course he is, because like, he's 8. Like reading is not a thing that he's done tons of. If a producer watches this tape, they're gonna be like, nah, I don't know about this kid. Now my guess is that if I give him and Kevin 4 minutes to practice this and we come back, because it's just a couple of words, that we will experience Caden as far more talented. And I'm hoping that that's going to be an example for today. Caden may be having so much fun that I need to remind him to stay focused, but that's like a totally normal thing, that would be expected in an audition for somebody his age. Okay, so you two hop into that breakout room and either Kevin, you make the judgment call and just hop back in a couple of minutes, or I'll close it in 4 minutes and come back. Okay, so one of the things that I think is interesting and challenging for actors and is really worth putting time and energy into is this idea that what we are doing is ultimately not magical. But that the goal is for it to appear magical to the people who are buying it. You want to walk out of the room and have the producers turn to each other and say, wow, oh my gosh, Deborah, she's amazing. She's so talented. Like that thing that she just did with this character, I really felt it. How does she do that? Right? Do you want them to have the experience my mom has every time she sees me or basically any actor do anything, which is, how do they learn all those lines? My mom is a sweet, innocent, person, and that's essentially her response at anytime she watches any kind of acting. She's very non-critical. Right? It's like when I watch ballet, and I'm like, oh my God, they were on their toes for so long. How do they kick their face like that? You want them to think it's magical. That's what we want. Now, however, if you believe that it's magical, if you believe that acting is this magical thing that you either have or don't, you are very unlikely to put in the practice. What you're much more likely to do is try it, and when it's not immediately successful, you'll be like, nah, I guess I just don't have it. Now that's not something that happens with violin. That's not something that happens, when people sort of start playing soccer. Maybe people are like, well, yeah, I'm not going to go pro because I don't want to practice 10 hours a day, but they don't stop playing soccer entirely. But what often happens with actors, they try acting for a while and they're like, I guess it's just not for me. I guess I just don't have that magical thing inside of me. And to me, that just says how successful this industry is, this multi-billion-dollar industry is at making somebody look magical. Right, so here's Eve. She does her audition tape. She's an actor, like other actors that we've seen. But then once we get her on set, there's several people's job, and their only job is to make her look amazing. And so somebody does her makeup perfectly, and then an entire team of people adjusts the lighting perfectly in every shot to be flattering. And then the camera operator's like, yeah, this angle that I'm using right now, not super flattering. So we're just gonna, oh yeah, see, now she looks even more amazing. And then when the editor gets it later, they're gonna be like, yeah, totally amazing. And then there's this one moment where like she was suppressing a sneeze, so she's like really in her scene. She's like, Mom, and she makes this weird face. And that's when they're gonna cut to Deborah's face going like, and they're going to cut right back to Eve, and it's going to look like she was in it, the entire scene. And everybody's going to watch it later and be like, wow, magical. Like that girl, Eve, talent. She's a rock star. She's amazing, because that's the thing they're selling. That's the package. And it is so effective that regardless of how many times I tell you this or how much you know about it or how much you learn about it, you will still hopefully watch movies and have that magical experience. You'll still be like swept away by the feeling. You'll still be like, oh, how do they do that? Hopefully you'll still be able to go along the ride for the feeling. But then I think in order to train, you have to be able to come back and break it down and go, okay, actually I know how they do that. And I know some of the pieces that go into it. And so let's close these breakout rooms. And so Caden and Kevin will be back in a second. We'll give props to Kevin for being my demo for today and helping me out. And I know that this isn't rocket science, but I think that it is enormously influential in terms of the way that we think about acting, the way we think about talent. Now, I'm not suggesting that you should contradict every time somebody in your life talks about how talented an actor is. I don't think that it is necessary, to say, oh no, that like talent isn't a thing, my teacher says so. Right? Like I said, we want other people to continue having this magical experience. I think we just, a layer of extra critical thinking about it in yourself is useful because it helps you remember, oh right, I can learn to do this thing. And unlike ballet, there are not hard physical limitations that will stop your career. Right? If you are a ballet dancer, it is possible that you are incredibly skilled, you train incredibly hard, and then at some point somebody like, you know what, your feet are just slightly the wrong shape, you're never going to go any further by. Right? Like, in acting, that's never going to happen. Right? You can look one way, and then lose all of your hair, and then, and then just end up auditioning for completely different roles. Yeah, I can vouch for this one. It actually happens, right? You can start acting when you're 5, and continue acting, when you're 12 and 15 and 35 and 55, with different life experiences in you and like a radically different face, and just keep layering things in and doing new roles. If you are focused enough if you basically want it enough to put in the practice, and if you love it, because that's what people really respond to. They respond to the practice you've got in your body, plus your own attitude towards it. And we've heard over and over again, from actors, from producers, from casting directors as well, like, you just have to love it. You have to love it. Okay, Caden, you ready to show off your practice? Okay, Kevin, you want to read this one with him?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, Caden, get ready. Start by not looking at Kevin. Start by kind of looking away, like, you're just there with your dad. This is your moment before, like, ugh, hate going to the bookstore. Stand by and action.
Hey, young fella, you like books?
Books are stupid.
Books aren't stupid.
Your book is stupid and you're stupid.
You can bite me. Hey, quit it. Stop that. Get out of here.
Hey, what are you doing to my son?
Hey, he started it.
Good. Right, and we didn't rehearse the moment after, so like he would need to go, mom, and like stay on the couch and act really hurt. But I got to give Caden that little bit of practice and give you all the concrete example. That like 4 minutes later, from like, books are stupid, right? Like, but that's the first read where we're like, who is this kid? He can't read. And it's like, of course he can't. 4 minutes later, we get a performance that's like much closer to what Caden could do if he was doing his audition tape, right? And it's not the like what Anthony Hopkins 100 times or 200 times. But I love that that tool that he mentions in the interview of drawing wheels. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th repetition. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th repetition. There's something about that that is just very intuitively smart, because it makes something that's abstract. How many times did I practice my scene? Concrete, right? It gives you a visual. I accomplished a thing. I did this thing over and over and over again. And just that act of making a mark, it's sort of like the kind of gold star chart, that you would get if you were a little kid. And actually, one of the things that I've seen be very effective for students who are in the 5 to 7 age range, which Caden just came out of, is if their parents are like, and then every 10 times you do the scene, you get a gold star, and like, doesn't mean anything. It's a gold star, but it's literally just making something that's otherwise intangible, putting it out there where you can see it. Another tool that can be useful with a script is because there's so many things that you're putting in all together at the same time, is to take a single thing that you want to focus on and write it on top in big fat black marker and decide that that's success. Right? So this is another tool for taking something that's intangible, where it's like, well, did I do it perfectly? Like if that's the question that you are unconsciously asking yourself after your auditions, after your self-tapes, after your practice, you are setting yourself up for failure because the answer will always be no. Right? We are in a creative profession that requires vulnerability. That is actively opposed to perfection. You know, it's going to be vulnerable and it's different every time, and you never have all the prep time you need. Even probably if you're Anthony Hopkins, could wants more prep time than he gets. The idea that if that deciding how you are benchmarking it and how you're tracking it, if you don't make clear decisions about that, then probably you're accidentally asking yourself the question, is it perfect? And then when the answer is no, you're like, one less reason to want to practice the next time. Whereas if you pick a single thing, if you're like, I'm going to make sure I'm louder than my reader, which is one of the most significant changes that we saw, in some of the self-tapes that we looked at yesterday, right? So and that's success, and then everything else is extra. And of course we want the extra. Like, I'm not saying don't be driven or focused, don't go after the details. You do, but then here's another thing that I feel like I've really witnessed over and over and over again, watching it in young actors, is that giving yourself the experience of success is extraordinarily connected to whether or not you come across on camera as confident. Every once in a while, I've had a student come into class, and right away, with almost no experience at all, like with no practice, they come across super confident, even if their technical skills are a complete mess. And so when that happens, I'm like, what's that about? Because you don't know how to act, kid, but you come across really confident, and I want to understand that more. And the last one that I can remember talking to, turns out that he was on the BC Gold soccer team, right? He's a very successful competitive soccer player. And so the story that I make out of that is that here's somebody who, because of his past experience, has a felt sense that yeah, I'll probably be successful. I'm going to do this thing, haven't done it before, but usually when I do those things, I just stick to them long enough and then I am successful. That's my expectation. I expect success. And you can kind of see that, right? There's some people who just kind of walk around the world with that. And you can call it privilege or you can call it entitlement, but it also seems to be effective. And so I don't want you to be jerks, and I don't want you to move through the world and be entitled, but I do want you to experience yourself as successful enough that you carry that into your acting. And I'm not a life advice guru. I don't know how you bring that into the rest of your life, but specifically with acting, what you can do is you can pick one thing at a time and say, okay, if I get this thing, that's success, right? And track in that way. So there's my rant about confidence and success, which I wanted to give to you in a slightly new flavor with Caden and Kevin as demos. Thank you guys. Little sign language applause. Yay! We have exactly 3.5 minutes left. Do any of you have a concrete question about anything that I have said today, or anything related, or anything that you're like, ooh, there's 3 minutes. Here's what I'd like Michael Bean to talk about. Going once, going twice.
Any suggestions for getting that confidence? I think, people can be confident, but then being confident in the acting audition room is a bit of a different story. And how do you bring that in?
That's a great question. So I would say that repeated practice brings a felt sense of ease. Once something is familiar, then you will be experienced by other people as more confident. Right? So there's basically confidence in terms of the way it comes across to other people, and confidence in terms of how you feel inside. And I think the clearest way that I can answer this question is by think about it from the perspective of the decision makers, the producers, the casting directors. If your work comes across as super confident, they're like, wow, this person, Kevin is such a confident actor. But then we talk to you and you're like, oh yeah, it's a mess. I feel terrible about it. I don't get, as long as you don't say that second part out loud, can they consider you a confident actor and hire you? 100%. But if you flip it and you're and it doesn't come across as confident work, but on the inside you feel like you're the boss, is that confident work? Can you get hired like that? Probably not. So if we're talking about like what makes somebody feel confident all the time, I don't know if that's a thing. I mean, I know that we want that because it looks like some people move through the world like that, but I don't actually think that's a thing. I think that some people mask better than I do, certainly, and they walk around like, yeah, I'm the boss. And then they go home and only in the dark at 2 a.m. like, I don't know what's happening with my acting. And I much prefer, like to be around vulnerable humans who are like, yeah, this is an imperfect process because it's creative and that's what we're doing. So ease and just familiarity will get you to the point where your work comes across as much more confident, is one piece of that answer. And then the other one is exactly what I've just been laying out, which is if you give yourself the experience of success in small ways, specifically in acting, and like I said, it is possible that success in other parts of your life will carry over to acting, but it's like one of those, like, that's like a cross-training thing. It's like, maybe 20% carries over. Unless, or it's like there's an element of like, your personality, that's also hard to control for there. What I've used as a teacher and seen be successful over time is just giving students the experience of being successful, and feeling successful about their work. So they're like, oh yeah, I've never seen this scene before. I've only got 48 hours to prep it. I'll probably be fine. Because I keep doing that over and over again and it keeps being fine. And I've even had opportunities, for the work to be experienced by myself or by my teacher or by other people as skilled and successful. Right? And then if you stick around long enough, you get those little, dribs and grabs of external validation from like actually booking commercials or, doing student films or booking professional projects. That part is just outside of our control. So my advice tends to be focused on like which parts can we actually control and have influence on. Does that answer your question, Kevin?
Yeah, no, it's perfect.
Okay, great. Excellent. Wow, 4 o'clock even. Thanks for your good question, Kevin. Thanks for showing up on a Tuesday in the sunshine. And I look forward to seeing some of you again tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to be going over the this week's Actors Challenge. Okay. Bye, friends.
Thank you.
Bye.